Hello and welcome to Frontline Focus, a podcast created as part of the Community Action Project in Comms 3100 at Cape Breton University. I'm Ashley, a student at CBU, and in this series I'll be sharing the voices of frontline workers who support individuals facing addiction, trauma, housing challenges, and other complex situations. Today I'm speaking with Constable Kyra Clark, a 20-year veteran of policing with the Cape Breton Regional Police Service, who has spent her career working directly in the community through General Patrol. Over the years, she has witnessed firsthand the impact of addiction, mental health struggles, and effects of vicarious trauma. She's kindly agreed to speak with me today and share some of her insights and experiences. Thanks for being here, Kyra.
No, you're welcome.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself and the kind of work you do as a police officer?
I was employed with Cape Breton Regional Police for 20 years as patrol officer, always on the front line. I never went into a section or did any of those extra things. I always wanted to be dealing with the public. And as of today, June 30th, 2025, I am now officially retired.
Well, that's awesome, Kyra.
Uh-huh.
So, to get things started, what made you choose a career in policing to begin with?
Well, when I graduated from high school back in 77, I wanted to go into RCMP. But at that time, there was a height restriction, and I fell very short of that. I'm only 5'2", so I couldn't get into RCMP at that time. And at that time, I didn't think of town police. So I worked several different jobs of caregiver, bakery, drugstore. Got married, had 3 children, and in 2003, I thought, I'm getting up there. If I'm going to do it, it has to be now. I applied to the police academy, was accepted, passed all the requirements, and graduated September 2004 at the age of 46.
Wow, that's amazing.
I think I also have the claim of being the only grandmother to ever graduate from Atlantic Police Academy.
Wow, that must have been some accomplishment to be 40, in your late 40s, starting a new career, especially in policing.
Well, it's a lot of physical and mental requirements, but I got through it.
Yeah, and you sound to be a great role model to not only females, but to women in general, at no matter what age. Okay. So, in moving forward, Kyra, are there any specific situations in your job as a police officer that has changed the way you see or handle your role?
The biggest thing that I find, it has changed since I started my career. The biggest thing is the social media and the cell phone. Everyone has a cell phone. Everyone puts everything on social media. Like, people don't know what goes on, and then they just show up and start videotaping, and they don't know the situation beforehand, and they don't know who's involved in an accident, but they're posting it on Facebook. So That's a big thing. It shouldn't be that way, but that's what people do, because some people don't know their loved one was in an accident or their loved one was arrested, and someone's posting it on Facebook. So that's... I don't like that.
Yeah, that's not fair to the families. They're finding out online before the police have actually notified them.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Okay. So what would you say, if you were to sum it up, like what you enjoy most about your job or find the most meaningful in your 20-year career?
Well, like I said, I was always front lines on patrol, so I enjoyed the people. I enjoy meeting the people, dealing with the people, maybe even being helpful in their situation. And it always feels good if you deal with someone and then maybe a month down the road or a year down the road, you meet that person and they'll come up to you and say, you were so good to me when this happened, or I remember you when you came to the house when this was going on. So it's always nice that, I just like the people.
To get some positive feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what would be some of the toughest parts of your job or challenges, especially when working with people facing addiction, homelessness, or any mental health challenges, to the best of your knowledge?
Well, there is so much mental health and addiction in our area. And as a police officer, you really don't, all you can do is maybe give someone a phone number or try and put them in contact with somebody that maybe could help them. But then they're still waiting months and months to get somewhere. And housing is the same way. There's people living on the streets, but we really don't have any way to actually help them in the moment when they need it most. It's always 2 weeks down the road or a month down the road before they can get an appointment to see anybody. So that's hard. It's difficult walking away and leaving somebody and they're still in a crisis situation.
Yeah, so many delays and things are time sensitive. Makes it very difficult to make it. It's a challenge where you feel like you can't do your job in the moment or at the time.
You're kind of stuck there.
Which feels like you're not resolving or helping the person in the time, but yeah, I get it. So would you say that you feel like officers have enough access to mental health or emotional support, for themselves? And if so, why or why not would you feel that?
Well, I know our department has an EPA program, but I find with officers, and you can talk to many, and they'll tell you the same thing. They feel like they have to be tough and strong. And if I'm having mental health issues or if I'm having problems with addiction or my home life, they're too embarrassed to go for that help. So I think that's the biggest problem is the officers themselves won't reach out because they don't want people to see them as weak or not as strong as they should be.
Yeah, it's almost like they're too proud, or there's like a stigma surrounding.
It's a stigma, absolutely.
Yeah, reaching out, yeah. It's okay. What kind of support helps the most when an officer is feeling overwhelmed or burned out? Like, say, for yourself or for someone else that you may have witnessed.
Well, the support. I think your family is your number one. Family support. Your other officers that you're close to. You're not close with all officers, but most have like 2 or 3 that they're close with that can help them out. Like say EAP program, if you're willing to reach out, they are available. But again, it's that embarrassment of asking for help that holds people back.
No. Oh, thanks for sharing that with me, Kyra. That really helps. So to kind of shift gears a little here, how, in your experience over your 20 years, how would you put it, like working in a rural area different from working in cities, like say in Sydney or Glace Bay, when it comes to getting services or support for things like that?
Well, I've never really worked in a big city, but I would think they would have more services available on a larger scale, where if you're in a rural area, you may not be able to. They may not have that service at your hospital. There may not be a hospital. You may not have transportation to get to your appointment. Or if there is transportation, the weather might hold you back. There's so many things that hold people back there in rural areas that a bigger city would probably, they're just available.
Yeah, and it probably makes it where it's not as feasible in somewhere that's like out in the woods or things like that than if you were more centralized in, say, Sydney or Halifax or Toronto or something like that.
Yes, and like I say, they probably have transportation and they may be able to get a free bus, where here that's not available. You have to find your own way and hope you make your appointment.
Makes it very challenging. So, so I guess in smaller communities where, privacy and stigma can make things harder, have you seen this, or has this been a part of your own experience, and how does something like that affect your work? If you could share something on that.
Well, I think that's a two-sided coin. It can make things harder because, of course, when you go to someone's house and they're in a crisis, and they like, oh no, it's Kyra. I know she knows my mother. She's friends with my sister, and they're embarrassed because of that. But on the other side of that coin, sometimes they're glad to see a familiar face. It's like, oh, it's Kyra. Thank God she knows me. She knows I'm not normally like this, that I'm just going through a really hard time. So it can help and it can hinder. So it just depends on the person, really.
A familiar face can sometimes lower your stress level because they recognize you.
Yeah. And just take things from a 10 down to a 2 quickly if they see that familiar face.
Just to put you at ease very, very comfortably. Yeah. That's understandable. So, in relation to, what's missing and what could change, or some changes that need to be done, if you could change one thing to better support officers like yourself or others, whether it's in the workplace or in policy making decisions or even in the community, what would that be to you, or what would that mean to you?
In the community, I think people have to realize that police officers are human. We make mistakes. Sometimes we decide on something that might not be the best in that situation. But we have to do what we do, and we only have a short time to make a decision. So sometimes we make decisions that, other people can sit back and judge and say you shouldn't have. So people have to realize we're human. We make mistakes. Mm-hmm. It just is what it is.
Some people just need to put themselves in your shoes
and
if they were doing the same job.
Else's shoes, like they say.
Yeah, makes sense. Yep. So, would there be any examples, just from your own observation, of any departments or programs that you think are doing a good job of supporting their officers and building these stronger connections with the community?
Well, I know now myself, I have 2 sons and a daughter and a son-in-law who are all police officers in different departments. They have now, in Alberta, my daughter's department has support dogs. These support dogs go calls, or if there's a situation, and bring the dogs in, and they say it works really well. I don't know. We don't have that here, but that might be something that would help people, because a lot of people are dog friendly. They love the animals. So it helps a lot of stress. One of my other sons, he looks after the youth troop in his area, bringing the young people in and showing them what policing is like. They take them over to the police academy for a day. So there's a lot of programs that people can see, like, officers are human. This is what they're doing. They're trying to help out in the community. And like, again, with the support dogs, like, people love animals. So that's
something to consider. Yeah. No, I think that's a great idea. So, just for yourself, or over your career, what do you do to manage stress or take care of your own well-being outside of your workplace?
I've got lots on the go. I go to the gym pretty much every day. I play baseball in the summer. I am involved with the Challenger baseball all summer, Challenger hockey in the winter, and all through the winter and part of the summer I'm involved in Challenger taekwondo. I love to read, swim. Like, I'm pretty sports minded, so sports is a big part of my stress relief.
No. So physical activity, community action, a lot of extra leisure activities. So, no, I think that's awesome, Kyra. So I guess this is a little piece of advice. What would help you or other officers feel more respected or supported by your workplace or the public?
Just that the people could realize that they have to trust us and have faith that we're going to do the best for you in your situation. And you know what? Even at the time, it might not seem like we're doing what you want. Sometimes what you want is not what you need. Mm-hmm. We are human. We're trying our best. We just want to make things right for you. Mm-hmm. But people don't realize that. But they really have to sit back and look and say, you know what? These people are doing the best they can. They're doing what's maybe not what you want, but what's necessary at the time.
Yeah, and I suppose like frustrations and angers and just the fact of the unknown probably plays a huge factor in the public and wanting to know now and the answers and things like that, and the fact that they have to wait and it's just makes them more frustrated. So it's almost like becoming like a vicious circle. If you could agree with that statement.
Absolutely. Or you have to realize, like, you go to someone's house and then all of a sudden they're getting arrested. They've never been to jail before. They don't know the process. That's got to be overwhelming to someone, to be put in handcuffs. The rights are taken away from them and put in the back of a police car. Mm-hmm. So, of course, they're going to be agitated and maybe aggressive. And it's a big, you have to understand, once those handcuffs click on you, that's it. You don't have any rights then. Yeah. You're under our control. Yeah. So that's...
Things change in the split second, as we say.
Things go from bad to worse.
Yeah. So I guess just to kind of sum things up and finalize our thoughts here, Kyra, what do you wish more people understood about what it's like to be a frontline police officer, especially, when we're dealing with these difficult situations, especially involving vulnerable people with the mental health and addictions?
Yeah, people have to realize that we are not trained in mental health or addictions. We know some and we learn some as we go, but we don't have the resources or the abilities to fix these problems. But we can only do our best and maybe try and get your phone number or try and get your contact number. Just know that we're out there. We're trying to do our best for you, and we're not there to hurt or hinder anybody. We're just trying to get you some help. That's all we're doing.
Just hoping to kind of like streamline some services for people to help them along the way, sort of.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, is there anything else that you'd like to share, or any message that you want to leave the public or leadership or others even doing this kind of policing work with before we conclude?
Well, I've had a good career. I've worked with some great officers, and they all do their best to try to resolve your issues. But it's not a career you can go into lightly. Stay in school, and maybe go for some ride-alongs with some officers just to see what you're getting yourself into before you decide that this is something you want to do, because you can have some hard days.
Yeah, and it's something that you would have to be 110% prepared for.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. It's not an easy day.
Okay. Well, Kyra, thanks so much for being here, sharing your experiences with us. We really appreciate your time and everything that you've shared here today.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks again.